N7 Radio. Broadcasting now.
Hello, Mass Effect Nation. This is episode 4 of N7 Radio, the Mass Effect Andromeda podcast. This episode will be all about the characters that we know and love from the Mass Effect trilogy. And speaking of people we know and love, we have a very special guest today, GamerMD83.
Hello.
Woo!
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's awesome to actually have you.
Thank you for joining us.
And I'm Raizer. You may have heard of me before. I cover Mass Effect Andromeda news, theories, and information, and I'm a proud member of Mass Effect Nation, a strong community of fans that share real Mass Effect news, theories, and information with one another. Make sure you follow me on YouTube and Twitter on the links provided, or if you're one of our YouTube listeners, you can just click my Garrus guy right here on the screen.
Hi everyone, I'm BioFan. I'm a YouTuber that does videos about various BioWare games such as Dragon Age Inquisition and Mass Effect Andromeda. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, pretty much anywhere that there's social media. I'm pretty much there. Chachi today is getting her Paula Abdul on and judging a parade, so she is not on our podcast today, but she is, you know, having a good time, so...
Sounds like the most random thing to be doing. Why aren't you here today?
I know, right?
I'm judging a parade.
I'm judging a parade. You know what? I believe you.
That sounds more believable than I'm sick.
Yeah, we'll miss her. And I'm Kay, and I'm also known as girltriesgames GTG. You can also find me on YouTube. I make Let's Play videos and some lore analysis. And yeah, I'm excited to have our special guest here today. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm GamerMD83. I am on YouTube as GamerMD83. I make a lot of information videos, especially when it comes to like Dragon Age, some Mass Effect. I do Mass Effect talks. It's kind of on hold right now because I'm kind of backed up on a lot of things.
I know that feeling.
I know
Yeah,
that
right?
feeling.
So it's just like, I can't get back. But yeah, I focus on a few games that I enjoy, and I like to talk lore and speculations and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Yeah, you guys should definitely follow her. I've been watching her videos for years now, and her
Thank
content
you.
just keeps getting greater and greater.
That's very sweet. Thank you.
If you don't already watch GamerMD83, you're missing out on life. Like,
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
And speaking of you covering Mass Effect videos, what actually brought you to the Mass Effect franchise? Like, what were your first impressions of playing Mass Effect?
Oh man. My brother bought Mass Effect. And I didn't play it until maybe like a year after its release.
the first
I hadn't
one?
played, the first one. I hadn't played any RPGs during that time, so I didn't know that world existed. Like, I didn't know that, I knew about JRPGs, like Final Fantasy and all that, but I didn't know that you could create your own character and like choose your own dialogues and pretty much form your own shepherd or your own whatever. So when I saw it on my brother's game rack, I was like, what is this? So I just put it in, and I was like, wait, I create my own character? Oh my, it took me like all day, but I had so much fun, so I fell in love with it immediately. Just that idea of like being able to create your own character was awesome.
Yeah, it's like living a second life, but this other life is a lot more interesting.
Yeah,
than
it's
what you
actually
have.
in space.
It's like, go to Kmart and buy milk, or go to space.
To space.
I'd
Tough
rather
choices.
I'd rather, kill a Reaper instead of taking out the trash, but
Yeah.
kind of similar
it's kind of the
thing.
same thing.
Yeah, almost same thing.
Yeah, I know, like, I got started with RPG games, playing Elder Scrolls. I saw it at a friend's house back on the old Xbox, Morrowind, and I was like, what is this game? This looks like something that I've never really seen before. Before that, I've played, Command & Conquer Civilization games, horror games like Fatal Frame, I don't know if you've ever heard of that game, and just, general other games. I haven't really dabbled in RPGs. Elder Scrolls opened up my mind to the world of RPGs and just the whole scope that these games can have, and how your game could be totally different from your friend's game, and you could just sit there and talk about the smallest difference, but it could be a conversation that could last for hours. And then I heard of, Mass Effect, which was, I played Baldur's Gate and other RPG games, or BioWare RPG games, and I figured I'd give it a try. It's like a new age BioWare game. I haven't played it since the older ones.
I still need to try that.
Oh, they still hold up to time, in my opinion.
Awesome.
But, but Mass Effect, I wasn't really too into sci-fi, because I like science and everything, but I don't like stuff that doesn't make sense, like what they would call space magic now, I suppose. but when I first initially played it,
makes all the sense in the world.
Yes. How does that work? Oh, a wizard did it. Don't ask too many questions. But yeah, I fell in love with not only making my character, but choosing their past. And I was like, wow, is this really going to matter in the game? Mm-hmm. And that right there caught my eye. And then playing the game, not only was the cinematics done right, and the voice acting was cool because the guy would actually say what you wanted him to say, Shepard would speak it, as opposed to Elder Scrolls where it was all quiet for the protagonist. And and then not only that, they actually made the science and sci-fi aspects believable with the codex entries, and that tied it all together for me. And then the story and gameplay, I fell in love with it, and then I was attached from the first one, and I looked forward to the second one more than I think I did any other game.
Yeah, me too.
I've been playing video games since I was, I think, about like 4 years old. So the first video game I ever played, and this is a classic right here, is Elmo's ABCs and 1, 2, 3s for the Game Boy Color.
Oh wow,
that was so cheap.
Baby BioFan.
Oh man, that game was some good hours are spent there. Such education.
Did you get all the achievements and possible endings and everything?
I could count to 5. It was a real achievement. I had it going, man. I've been playing RPGs for a long, long time, but then that wondrous, beautiful day where I walked into GameStop and I found this little game called Dragon Age Origins on the shelf, and I picked it up and I was like, dragons, that sounds cool.
I like dragons.
Yeah, dragons sound cool. I'm like, gosh, how old was I? I think probably like 14, 15, maybe, I don't know. But, so I was like, okay, this looks cool. And then I bought it, and then I went home and popped it in my Xbox 360, and that's gonna sound really old eventually. But, so I popped it in, and then I think, maybe like about 40 hours later, I emerged from my room and was just like shaking and like, that was the best thing ever. And so I immediately, I went to sleep, then went to GameStop and was like, I loved this game so much, what else can I play? And they were like, well, there's this thing called Mass Effect 2 that just came out. Do you wanna try it? It's pretty fun. It's got some space and stuff. And I'm like, I don't usually like shooters, but okay, if it's by the same company. Who's this? Oh, BioWare? Okay, that's who they are. All right. And so I went and played that, and oh my gosh, it was like Origins all over again, and it was the best. And like I never ever liked shooters. I still don't like shooters, but somehow Mass Effect was just like the perfect experience.
It does it right.
It does it so right. It's so fluid.
It's like the perfect balance.
Yeah, it really is. Just so perfectly balanced. And the story was amazing, and then I did the suicide mission, and I was like, I'm sold, when's the next one?
The minute that music starts, you just feel it.
Yes.
Oh, the feels.
The goosey.
The feels. Well, I also played games from a really young age. I think one of my first non-educational games was Myst, if you guys remember that.
Myst, yeah.
It's one of my favorites still, and I also did a lot of N64 gaming as I got older.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, my favorites were Banjo-Kazooie, Star Fox.
Star Fox was where it was at.
GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Oh, GoldenEye.
GoldenEye, I love that game.
Yes. And then unfortunately, I guess I kind of stopped through like middle of high school through college. I got too cool, I guess.
His stupid games.
And then after college, God, I'm kind of aging myself, huh? After college, I had a roommate and a boyfriend who played a lot of games, and and I just wanted to get back into it, so I started playing like Portal and Fallout 3 things like that. And then my boyfriend brought home Dragon Age one day, Dragon Age Origins.
The best date ever.
Yes.
Very good game.
And I stayed home sick from work one day, and I just played all day. And yeah, I was hooked on that. And then I had a friend, my friend Jen, who I actually share my Twitch channel with. She told me about Mass Effect and was like, it's basically Dragon Age in space. So I started out playing it 2, actually, which I kind of regret, but kind of not, because 2 is still my favorite. So I started out with 2, and I was just like, oh my god, give me more. So I went back and played 1, and then I played both of them like 50 times until 3 came out, and yeah, I love it so much. I'm so glad I found it.
I know, right?
Yeah, I don't know where I'd be without Mass Effect.
No,
I know
yeah,
it sounds
seriously.
kind of corny,
I'd
but
probably be very bored.
Very bored.
Yeah.
yeah.
Wouldn't have my Garrus.
I know.
Oh,
I
God,
think about it
Garrus.
too. I'm like, man, if I hadn't just picked it up, because my brother had it there for so long, and I was like, if I hadn't just picked it up, I think I'd just be someone else completely.
So, MD.
Yeah.
Really important question here.
Yes.
Really serious. Caden or Garrus?
Ooh, Garrus for show.
Yeah!
Chachi, why did you leave me with these two Garrus answers? Ugh. I love Caden enough for
Hey,
both
I
of
didn't
us.
romance Garrus, I just liked Garrus. I don't think, who did I romance? I think my first playthrough was nobody because I felt bad having to choose, and then the second time I think it was Liara just because
didn't you
she
say
had an
Liara?
interesting character growth.
Yeah, didn't you say Liara was your favorite romance?
Yeah, well, just because of her character growth throughout the franchise, she goes from being almost similar to Liliana in a way. She goes from being kind of innocent-ish to becoming the Shadow Broker, which is this legendary figure, you know. Spoiler, sorry,
Yeah.
people, but it's been like 20 years.
Spoiler.
But you could still feel like she still has she maintains that innocent core of herself even in the third game, just through the interactions through the Shadow Broker DLC. Or no, that was the second game. It's Shadow Broker DLC. But in the third game, it's kind of the same thing. You could still see just the way she hesitates sometimes and isn't quite sure of herself, so she asks Shepard, and it's just, I don't know, she seemed the most genuine to me. I'm not saying the other characters weren't, but just out of all the romanceable options, in my opinion.
I could go on a rant about Caden if you really want to know why.
I could too, but it would probably be two very different rants.
Probably.
All I know about
I'm
Caden
still
is
mad at
his
him.
headaches.
I'm still in love with them. It's okay. We can balance each other out.
I don't know too much about him because I chose Ashley for some reason. I thought
You're a
she might
horrible
change her
person.
I chose
they
Ashley
hinted-
too. I'm sorry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
At least I'm
It's
not
because I
alone.
romanced her, so I was like, sorry, Caden, bye.
Oh my god. Oh.
Well, they hinted like she might be an interesting character later on, but no, she just pretty much maintained her xenophobic ways. And, like,
Yeah, I was like,
anti-alien.
damn it, I should have kept Caden.
Yeah.
There was this one bug that I when I was just perusing the Mass Effect internet one day, I found that for some people, if you killed Ashley, her ghost will appear in the background.
No.
So, like, an
God.
outline
Really?
of Ashley will appear, or an actual, like, Ashley will appear, like, in the final
Oh my
scene,
god.
just, like, watching
That's
me.
Oh my god.
You can't get rid of her. You just can't.
That is so creepy.
That is creepy. Oh wow. I still remember the Kaiden glitch from Mass Effect 1 where it was really popular. There's a gif of it where he's like breakdancing or doing like this weird leg thing in his hair, and he's like 3 feet off the ground. His legs like this kick, flip, kick, and he's like his arms are out like he's prancing. And Shepard's like, "What is this? This is not my favorite thing on the Citadel."
Trying to upload the Shepherd Shuffle. How dare he?
I wish I had that glitch.
I did
I never
too.
had
I
it.
would have just stayed there just laughing, like, selfie, hey!
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, out
Oh,
of all the 3 games in the trilogy, which one is your favorite? Starting with MD.
Mass Effect 2.
2.
Yeah. I think it just... I feel like it had everything. Although, Mass Effect 1 had more, what I love about Mass Effect 1 was that mystery of like space exploration, and I think Mass Effect 2 didn't really have that. But I think when it comes to the character development and the connections, Mass Effect 2.
Definitely.
I can agree with that. I think Mass Effect 2, like I said earlier, is definitely my favorite, and it's mostly all because of the characters. I think the story is stronger in the other games, but I guess what's important to me in these games is making those connections. I think it's like what, draws you in on a personal level, and
yeah,
I love it.
It just makes them so real.
I think Mass Effect 2 is where they really introduced all the characters, and Mass Effect 3 they didn't really introduce that many new ones, and the ones they did introduce usually would die. But one thing I did like I like Mass Effect 1's exploration, and I like their leveling system, even though it was kind of static. A lot of people said there was more to it, but in reality it was just the same upgrade, just you get a higher percentage the next bar. Mass Effect 2 kind of let you have more specialization. But I liked the characters in Mass Effect 2. I liked the suicide mission. That was pretty cool, just building up to go on this mission.
I forgot to mention that.
Man, that was the best
I
part
love
ever.
That was amazing. Again, when that
just made it feel so
music
epic.
starts, it's like, oh
like,
my
oh
god,
my
I'm gonna cry.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. It just gets your blood boiling.
Yeah, and I think that suicide mission is like the epitome of this whole thing that BioWare likes to do and giving you choices and stuff. Like that totally affects everything. You can either really fuck up or you can do everything perfectly. It's all up to you, and
and you were actually able
love
to
that.
too. Like everyone could die, including you, if you did things wrong.
That's what I loved about the suicide mission, is how much you had to lose and how much choice came into it, where it's like, okay, what tech person you gonna choose? And I'm like, oh my god, okay, this is serious. Like, I just stare at this, I'm like, okay,
Who do I
Tally,
pick?
you
I
go,
don't
no
know.
wait.
Yeah. And the choices actually mattered. Like, BioWare did it right.
Oh, yeah.
Most other games, like, I think, what game was it? Beyond Two Souls, I think it was, where they said, all your choices matter. But there's one point where you talk to someone and they're like, hey, do you want to go do this? And you could select yes or no. And I selected no. And then he's like, but come on. And
Well,
you're
too
like,
bad
oh,
you're
okay.
coming anyways.
I'm like, why did you even ask me what I wanted to do?
Well, I think there are some choices that kind of end up that way, but overall, BioWare is the master at that.
So many people died my first suicide mission. It was really pitiful.
Oh my god.
I got lucky and did it, I think, perfectly.
Me
I don't
too.
know
And
how.
I didn't lose anyone, and I was like, yeah.
I looked up online how to make sure no one died for the second one. I was like, no one is dying this time.
My first time, I had no idea what I was doing. They were like, we need a tech expert. And I was like, I don't want to sacrifice any of my tech experts. So I, sent Grunt.
He's like headbutting the control panel.
I don't know what my train of thought was, but...
He's like, I don't fit in this thing.
He gets stuck right away.
So yeah, I had some people die too.
I'm gonna have to do that this next time just to see what happens.
I set Legion into the pipe because I figured the not less than comfortable atmosphere in the pipe wouldn't bother him, since he's synthetic, and since he's synthetic, he's good with tech.
And he can hack
And I made
faster
Garrus
than-
the leader of the other squad because I wanted to give him another chance to redeem himself. For
Yeah.
what he feels is a mistake with his team on Omega doing Archangel stuff and all that.
I felt the same way with Garrus.
Yeah,
I
did
sent
that with
Tally
Garrus,
though.
too. I was
That's my
like,
tech.
Tally.
I was
See,
like, I
that-
figured my original squad would never go wrong. So I was like, Tally, Garrus.
there you go.
That's how I was with a lot of things. Unless I thought a certain squad member may have specific dialogue or something, I would bring the normal people. Or if I would just go do a side quest, I'd bring different people.
What was
Okay,
that?
sorry. That was my cat. Sorry
Your
about
cat.
that.
What kind of cat makes that noise?
That was really funny.
She was scratching her ear.
You have the coolest cat
Oh,
ever.
That's gotta be the blooper reel right there.
Never heard a cat make a noise like that.
She was transforming into another creature. She's a
Oh my
shapeshifter.
god. It's like a cartoon cat.
That's hilarious. She's trying to be a dog. Isn't that how you Dude, this noise. Cat noise.
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
So on that note,
What was I?
so my favorite game from the trilogy, I think, is actually okay. So I'm kind of like, how do you choose? So I mean, the suicide mission is like the bestest thing that ever bested, and then so Mass Effect 3, not including like the last 15 minutes, is probably my favorite game in the trilogy. Like the whole like story arcs up until the end was just so like dramatic and good, and came to a close, and just so many
Close
feels,
after
and I got to punch a Quarian in the face, and it was great. Like I was thinking to myself like, damn, I really wish I could just like punch this guy like he's and then the renegade option came up, and I was like, thank you so much.
You're like, bam! Didn't even think about it.
But like the whole like stopping the genophage thing, and the the Reapers, and just everything was coming to like the peak, and you got to sort of there was just so much. It was so good, so good.
Yeah, there was a lot of intense moments in Mass Effect 3. Definitely.
Yeah, I have a lot of feels around that, both good and bad. So I have trouble talking about it still.
It's too soon, even though it's been like
too
several
soon.
years, but it's too soon.
Yeah, I still miss, like, I don't know, like, I wish they would have just, like, gave you a blog where they would update you on what these fictional characters would be doing, you know, like, just so I could
that would be so
see
cute.
what they were... Yeah, like, Morden, still dead.
No!
I miss Morden, I loved Morden, that was one of the, like, most people didn't appreciate that moment that much. They were like, Thane was awesome, which it was pretty awesome in moving Thane's sacrifice, but me, I just, like, Morden, knowing his backstory in that moment, what he was doing and how he probably felt internally, and how he was at peace at that moment, you know, because throughout, between 2 and 3, he felt more and more guilty about the genophage, and then he's like, I'm finally curing it, you know, someone else could get it wrong, you know, and he goes up there, and
that line right there. It's like, oh no.
I'm sorry, Shepard, would have liked to run tests on the sheep cells.
Damn it, Weeks. Always hurting my heart.
I can hear him cackling in the background.
I know.
That evil genius man. Ugh.
Oh yeah, I just loved all the closure in Mass Effect 3. Even though 2 had the awesome story and introducing all the characters, 3 was just one topic closed, one topic closed, one topic. So that's just, it brought a lot of feels and closed a lot of doors that were left open in your mind about what's gonna happen with this, what's gonna happen with that.
Also opened a lot of doors.
Yeah,
Definitely.
more doors that should be left in that box we keep bringing up.
I think what I loved about Mass Effect 3 was the emotion that it brought to Shepard, and like making him not so much this hero, you know, it kind of brought him down a little bit, like with the failure at Thessia.
Oh
Yeah, it made Shepard more of a person instead of like a perfectionistic war hero.
Like he finally failed. Like it's like, and you look at him and it's like it just tears him apart. And like when he's just staring at that little comm link blinking the whole time, and he won't answer it. He's just staring, like kind of like he's thinking, what am I gonna say?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I just like how he becomes more and more human, and then by the third game, the nightmares and everything, you could kind of feel for him almost now, as before he would be just like an inspirational figure. Now he's
this hero,
almost
this,
another
all this hero's going out and like curing the genophage and uniting the Geth and the Quarians and everything. He or she has their own internal struggle going on at the same time, and I really liked the depth that added.
Yeah,
I love that.
I mean, it's got to weigh down on him. I mean, I work and go to school, and that weighs down on me, and at the end of the day, I sit on the couch, and I'm like, oh, I'm so tired. But he goes and he does all these major missions day after day after day after day, and he's been doing it, and right when he thinks he's making progress, something worse happens.
Yeah.
And he sees all not only his friends around him troubled, and other colonies and planets, but now he's seeing his own home planet being destroyed, and he's still got to be the main figure everyone rounds around, otherwise there probably wouldn't be any hope at all. I mean, Shepard was the catalyst for everything. I hate to use that word. It kind of applies. I wonder if that's why they chose the word catalyst, because in the end, Shepard ultimately made the decision. You know, he was the catalyst.
Yeah, he was the catalyst. Most likely. That's probably
I never thought of it that way.
So
That's interesting.
other than the suicide mission, which we all agreed was like the best thing ever, what were
Awesome
some of your
times.
other favorite missions from the trilogy? Missions or quests or
Moments or
yeah.
Oh.
just memorable times.
Oh my god.
There's too many.
There's
Yeah, there's
So many.
Or maybe something you just would like some more closure on that you didn't think they wrapped up too well. There's a lot of those.
One moment that always pops into my mind when someone asks me that is in Mass Effect 2 Garrus's mission, where his personal quest, where he wants to pretty much snipe what's his name?
Sidonis.
The person that
That
betrayed.
one guy.
Yeah, the betrayal. Yeah.
Sidonis?
Sidonis. Yeah. Was it
Sidonis,
Sidonis?
yeah.
Yeah, it was Sidonis.
It was Sidonis.
Where he wants to snipe him and you're just getting in the way. I mean, you can get in the way. I kept on getting in the way. And he's like, Shepard, move. Like, that part was just, it was so good because I really felt it. And I think probably because I love Garrus so much, I was like, it was so personal to me. I was like, no, Garrus. Like, I kept on like talking to the screen. I was like, don't you go down that path. And I was like, I'm gonna keep getting in your way. Do not do this. Just the way, I mean, even though he's not even human, you could just see I thought they did a great job with his expressions.
Oh yeah.
You could just feel it, like
definitely.
the intensity of his eyes, and that was one of my, that's definitely on the top of my list of favorite moments.
Yeah, I actually didn't think about I remember that moment, I liked it, but then I forgot about it just because of all the other stuff going on, but that moment was actually really cool. I actually really liked that mission in general. It was unique for the game, you know, instead of going out and shooting and sneaking, you're actually putting yourself out there to stop something from happening.
It was very personal when it came to Garrus's character, where it's like, oh my god, you know, this is Garrus, you know, like, do I want to let him go down this path?
I think I remember in Mass Effect 1 they had a similar mission with Dr. Hart, who ended up, and you could choose, hey, we're gonna go kill him. I think I actually killed him just because of the horrible story they told you about Dr. Hart. I was like, you know, I probably should kill Dr. Hart. I think that would be a good idea. But I think ultimately it was the bad choice for Garrus, but I'm not quite sure. That was a long time ago for me.
I know, right?
He's
I think I
vigilante
didn't
through and through.
Yeah,
Well,
I think,
sorry.
you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, I know I said that Mass Effect 2 is my favorite game, but when you asked that question about my favorite missions and moments, all these things from Mass Effect 3 came up in my head. And I think that just goes to show how, like, mixed my feelings are about this game. But, I think, like you mentioned, the Thessia mission was so... The music, oh my god, was my favorite, and it was just, really emotional, and that's like the turning point, and I think that was one of the moments that really had a big impact on me emotionally.
Yeah, because you see like one of the most advanced races in the entire galaxy and their home planet just totally being taken over, and everyone's failed. Like, it's done. It's gone.
Exactly.
And even worse if you take Javik and Liara. You're just like, Javik, please, just shut up. Leave her alone, dude. You're making it worse.
Have a little heart, dude. Have a little heart. Yeah, and also the Ardat Yakshi monastery, when you first hear that banshee scream.
Oh my god.
It still gives me like chills and frightens and
frightening.
That was crazy, especially when you enter and it's like all dark and every little noise is like, oh my god.
Yes.
Yeah, they did a good job building up the suspense.
Or like,
that was good.
It's even worse
Ow.
in the Leviathan DLC when you're in that lab and you can hear the banshees.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh god, no, please, why? Don't do this, BioWare. I can't take it.
Oh my god, the Leviathan DLC. That's another one of my favorite moments, when you get into that mech and you drop into the water.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like, that's like old school sci-fi, like, you know, going into the deep the deep blue sea, you know, where you're like, what's down here? There's probably aliens. Yeah, it's just, I was like, oh my god.
And jellyfish.
Jellyfish.
Yeah, and just seeing the Leviathan for the first time and seeing how it looked just like the Reaper, you're like, oh wow, there
yeah.
it is. That's what it is.
At first I was like, oh look, bubbles. Oh my god, what's that?
Ooh, bubbles.
Oh, Bubbles. Oh, Bubbles! No! It just brought so many questions too, like I wonder how these creatures even built the Reapers living underwater, you know, like how do they become a spacefaring species being water-dwelling giant creature? They could have just indoctrinated everything around them to do this. I guess they could have.
I think they kind
They
of
did
wanted.
say that they had a... Huh?
I think they kind of wanted all of that to just sort of be a mystery, like left there for wonder and stuff.
Yeah, I like that. That's what I like, that whole like sci-fi-ish mystery feeling it had. Like very old school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It did actually have that feeling, yeah. And speaking about the monastery, since we're talking about our favorite moments, there's so many favorite moments, and like Kay said, I just think of Mass Effect 3 for a lot of them because that's just when a lot of the big moments were. But one a lot of people, I think, may overlook, for me, as a moving moment that pretty much brought tears to my eyes when it happened was with what's her name? I can't even remember her name. The Justicar.
Oh, Samara.
Samara,
was that her name? I thought that was... Oh no, Morinth is the name of her.
Oh, the daughter, yeah.
Samara.
Yeah.
Her daughter's more.
I get their names confused, but Samara, when she was going to get her daughters on the monastery, and she was like, since the monastery was destroyed and her other daughter sacrificed herself, she's, as people would know, Samara is to the code with everything. Like, she lives for the code. She lives to be a Justicar. She's left her other life behind almost completely. So you know that's how she is. Like, that's the character she is. And you would think it would make her cold to her daughters and everything. You kind of develop a little bit of a barrier towards her, thinking she's put off and, you know, not the warmest person. She may be an effective warrior, but she kind of might be cold. But then you see that moment when she's like, Filaire, the code dictates a Tardigachi cannot exist without a proper monastery. And then she's like, there's only one way to do this. And then she pulls her gun out and you think she's gonna kill her daughter, but she puts the gun up to her own head. And I'm like, oh my god. The feels that brought up. And then Shepard just runs up to her. Yeah, that just changed my opinion of her right away. I was like, oh wow, Samara is like, she's actually a human inside of that thick warrior, biotic commando.
Yeah, the one character you never thought would you know, would change her views or would change her ways. It was someone that was so by the book one game, and then all of a sudden she just turns the next, and because it's, you know, her daughter, I was like, oh my god, that was powerful.
Yeah, it was a powerful moment. And that's one that I don't think I'll ever forget, just for gaming experiences. Because very few games could match the story experience of, like, let's say a book or a movie, just because of the medium. But BioWare did it right, because the story in Mass Effect, just even in the small scale stories of characters, just blows away a lot of other stuff.
I think another two moments that jump out from Mass Effect 1 were this could change. This could be different depending on what you choose. But with Saren at the very end, where he puts the gun up to his head and he just looks like, you know, he can't take it anymore. You could just see that it's not him. You know, that he's indoctrinated. That's the moment where you really see, you know, where you're like, is he really the villain? Like, he's being controlled. So when he puts that gun to his head and he's just like, you know, I can't do this anymore, I was like, oh my god, that was powerful for me.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Saren was an amazing villain. Well, villain / kinda not villain.
Yeah, I agree. My favorite villains are always the kind of gray ones who mean well and end up just fucking shit up.
Like, yeah, like you could still relate with them. Like, I think that's what makes a really good villain, is when you could still relate to them and they're not completely evil that you can't even, you know, all you want to do is just kill them. Yeah. Also the Sovereign attaching itself to the Citadel, that moment you're kind of like looking up at it, and it's like, it was like one of the most, since this was the first game, it was like one of the most epic, huge moments, because it's this huge, Reaper attaching its, and you're just like,
and it's kind of slow.
And all the Alliance ships are just like shooting at it, and you're like, oh my god, we cannot do this.
It's like the Reaper is right there, I could touch it, oh my god. Yeah, that moment was definitely pretty intense.
I think so I have two really big moments. The first one is obviously I had to wait through Mass Effect 1, then wait through Mass Effect 2, and then finally you get the option to romance Caden as a guy. Finally. And, but like the drama that leads up to it is like he gets beat up, and like that's before you even really get to talk. Like you only have a little bit of conversation in Mars, and then he gets beat up by the robot, and you don't know if he's gonna make it at first, and then he's in the hospital, and there's just so much like that goes with it and lead up, and like so much leads up to this moment where you're finally on the Citadel, and he's like, Shepard, almost dying made me think about like what's important, and then he kind of goes into the romance, and it's just the feels, oh my god. And it's just,
Caden.
Oh, man.
Oh, Caden.
Oh, Caden. Oh, my goodness. So much.
His romance is pretty good. I've seen it before, and I was like, oh, this romance is, it's one of those romances where you just feel like it works, like it's just real, where you're like,
it's very realistic, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good romance.
Though I don't think any guy can actually kind of, like, live up to Caden. I think that's where the fiction kind of bites you in the butt. Like, it was too good. Then my next kind of favorite mission was the Omega DLC. Like, I really, really liked the Omega DLC, obviously, because Arya is one of my favorite characters, actually, like, my favorite character of all time. Oh, I love Arya.
She's so perfect.
She's so great. Oh, I love her so much. But I really...
She's my role model.
She's a great role model.
It's like,
But I really liked how the DLC kind of had this, like, or at least for me, it was a larger struggle, because you're struggling between, like, making Arya like you because she's awesome, or, like, actually doing, like, ethical things. You have this sort of, like, internal struggle of, do I do the thing to save the people, or do I save the people and do the harder thing, or, what do I do, and she wants me to do this, but the other person wants me to do that, and then, what do I do? Like, there's this, like, so much moral decisions that you have to make, and I really liked how something like a video game can make you think that deeply about, oh my gosh, what do I do?
Yeah,
like makes you take a step back and actually think like hard about a decision that doesn't really even exist in real life. That's the awesome thing BioWare does with the story. It's just, it enraptures you into the world that they helped create.
Definitely.
Oh my god,
what are your
Go ahead, MD.
I was just gonna say that it reminded me of the Overlord DLC. That's my favorite.
God, that one.
DLC, like, of all time.
Even the music.
Oh, the music was amazing. But the moment where you get separated from your squad, like, I want BioWare to do that more. Where they're just pounding on the door, and I was like, that's one of my favorite moments too.
And another big moral question.
Yeah. And that music, though. Oh my god.
Yeah.
At the end, that's still one of my favorite songs.
BioWare has an amazing musical component in every single thing they do. It's, oh my god.
Yeah, it just rips into your heart and pulls it out.
Have you...
Can't wait to hear the new music in Andromeda, because the music in Inquisition is pretty good, even when you're just out exploring.
MD,
oh my god, yes.
Have you finished Trespasser yet?
No.
I have not.
That last song, at that big final moment, like...
Oh, really?
It's
the
like,
feels.
it's up there with the Leaving Earth track from Mass Effect 3. Like, it is that
no way.
good. It's like I was playing it the other day, working on my review for the DLC, and I actually like started legit crying. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Don't get me started.
Is this a new song? This is a new song. Then.
It's new, and it's it
it's
made
beautiful.
me cry. I was like, "Oh my god!"
Oh my god! I'm probably gonna start sobbing then. I sobbed at the end of Origins.
What is your favorite character so far from the Mass Effect trilogy? I mean, we were just talking about the character and the feels that even the character stories could give to us. I know, GamerMD, you said you like Garrus a lot. Is that, if we had one choice of someone we would take, let's say through a wormhole, or however we get to Andromeda, if we had one choice of a character we could take to Andromeda, would it be Garrus, or would you have someone else you'd want to take for another reason?
Oh man, to Andromeda. Oh.
Just one character, one choice, one ring to another.
To rule them all. Oh man. I think I would. I mean, Garrus is if I'm not romancing Garrus, he's my bro. Like, I think there's so many characters I would want to bring, because I love Legion, but then, you know, we'd have to go into that wormhole before they freaking kill them.
Yeah.
And Morden, but
it's a space-time dimensional wormhole. Anyone can come.
Oh, yay! Let's all go then. No, I think
want two shepherds.
Wait, they did that already.
I want 2 Garruses. I think it would have to be Garrus.
I wonder how Garrus would do in the Andromeda Galaxy. That just leaves so many like open thoughts in my head.
Yeah,
like,
how do you think Garrus would change as a person, having been in Andromeda versus leaving? You know, like how do you think he could change in the future?
I think he'd be. I would think after everything that had happened, I think he'd be more of more secure of himself, more like wanting, maybe even have his own team, like you guys. I think that'd be really cool, like be 2 teams, even though you wouldn't. I think if I were to say, okay, bring Garrus to Andromeda and in the actual game, I would want him to be a side character, not so much on my team, because I would want to see him in that light as a leader, like with a separate team, and not so much have him on my team again. I think because too much of one thing could be bad, you know. So even though I wouldn't see him constantly, I would like to know that he's off, you know, leading another team, and you could probably just talk to him on a comm or something like that and be like, hey Garrus, you know, what's going on? How are you doing? I think that'd be cool.
It'd be cool to like do quests for him to gain his trust, and then his team will become like an asset for you to use, kind of like on war maps.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
You guys, stop getting my hopes up.
He's like, Garrus out. He's the new Hackett.
Oh, Admiral Hackett. I forgot about Admiral Hackett.
Isn't he awesome, though?
He is awesome. He's like the Gandalf of
Yes.
Mass Effect.
And his voice is just like pure, and you feel like you could do anything. He's like, hack it out. I'm like,
This is Admiral
let's
Hackett.
do this.
You can do your math homework, Shepard.
I will.
Hack it out.
I think
And then the Mass Effect theme plays.
if I had to bring one person through, I'd have to pick someone that wasn't like a good friend of Shepard or like Shepard's romance, because I just couldn't do that to my Shepard. I would have, you know, it would fit if I brought Arya through, because she's just kind of not hanging around Shepard too much, so I could bring like her through the wormhole. And I think it would be really interesting to see what she would do with kind of, because if she was brought through, all of her power would kind of just be gone. Like, she would be just her. Like, she wouldn't have all of her
she
connections.
would not like that. She'd be like,
pissed.
oh, hells to the no.
Yeah, she would be so pissed, and it would be so
She'd just be Arya, not Omega anymore.
She doesn't have her connections.
She had been fucked with, and you know what happens when you fuck with Arya.
Yep. Commander Shepard comes and does a mission for her. And it's a whole DLC just because Arya was pissed.
But it was the best DLC. Anyway, I think like either she would try and start over and try and rebuild her sort of connections and things with what little there was in Andromeda. And then I think another thing that could happen is she would kind of maybe like show more of her inner self instead of the sort of like front that she puts on of intimidation. Like she would maybe kind of open up more, and like you would get kind of down to the heart of who Arya is as a person.
Yeah.
That'd be
Like
interesting.
her ethics
I would want to see that.
and her morals would kind of like flip almost.
Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting.
I think she would have a struggle of not being the leader. So I think
Oh, yeah.
that
Have
would
a
be
big struggle.
interesting. Yeah.
She'd have to have a character growth of some kind.
Oh yeah, she has a lot of character room to change and grow
Oh,
and
yeah.
evolve.
Yeah.
So I think she could be someone interesting to bring to Andromeda.
She could be almost like the shadow broker of Andromeda, in a way, if you help her get set up out there.
She'd like that.
Yeah, she'd like her.
Uh-huh. She'd be good at it, too.
Yeah.
Except she would just tell everyone that she's the shadow broker. It wouldn't be a secret.
No, she wouldn't want to have that secret.
She'd have like a billboard everywhere, like, I am the shadow broker.
All in neon lights. Of course.
Don't fuck with the shadow broker.
You know, initially I would want to say I'd want to bring Morden with just because he's a scientist and he could be useful, and just because, you know, I love Morden and his overactive personality and eccentricism and if
And
that's
his
the word.
singing.
His singing sings, yes, I love his songs.
Aw.
But two things, you know, the whole, you know, he could be, hopefully he's, you know, dead. Well, not hopefully, but that's just the right choice. He could be the genophage, you know, but yeah, he's either dead or, they say that it's going to take place long after the events of Mass Effect 3. That can mean, you know, 20 years, 30 years. But, Solarians only live, I think, 40 years is old for a Solarian.
It's pretty old, yeah.
Mhm.
And he was getting up there because he retired from STG and everything by the time of Mass Effect 2. So I don't think he'd be around even old age by the time of
No,
Andromeda.
he was already pretty old in Mass Effect 3, actually. He was in his
Yeah.
late 30s, I remember.
Yeah.
So I think that leaves me with another choice I'd have to make, which I was gonna say Conrad Werner just to be a joke. It'd be awesome.
Please, no.
I would love it. I would love it so much.
I just began thinking, what if he was like in the future he became like he got so pissed off at Shepard like telling him, hey, stop digging
What if
around
he's
in
the
Mass Effect 3.
protagonist, though?
Oh wow.
That would be awesome.
That would be so
became,
funny.
Like, the Bruce Lee, like he just dedicated his life to being Commander Shepard since he got shot down and he ended up becoming the next
Conrad?
hero.
Oh,
Conrad
Shepard.
Transcends all.
Savior
It's like,
of
oh, you thought
Andromeda.
you were gonna create your character? No, you're Conrad.
You're Conrad. You want to be a woman? You're Conrad. You want to be an Asari? You're Conrad.
You're Conrad.
Conrada. Oh my god,
And he's
that
got
would be
the same
awesome.
annoying voice.
You want to be a Vorcha? You're Conrad.
No,
You wanna
Conrad.
be a Vorcha? Well, too bad.
You want to be a Vola spot? No, Conrad.
I somehow messed up and didn't get Conrad in my Mass Effect 3 playthrough. I'm really bummed
Me
about
neither.
that.
I was like, what happened? I don't remember what
I did the. Oh, there's if you do everything right, like throughout the whole trilogy, in Mass Effect 3, Conrad Werner ends up being like this master scientist that helps look at all this stuff. Yeah, I'm serious.
war
He ends
asset?
up like writing it. He ends up writing, yeah, a war asset in the big one. Like it turns
Aw,
out that the thing
Conrad.
you need
Oh.
for the what are they building? The catalyst or whatever they're building.
Mhm.
You need like a very specific thing for it, and he just happened to write his thesis about it. Like so, like yeah. But
You
he
go,
can't help-
Conrad.
You go, Conrad, right in the thesis and beat
I
out
shot him in the foot,
scientific-
though.
Probably wouldn't have helped you then. His thesis probably.
So I don't think he liked me.
I wouldn't like someone who shot me. But it goes even deeper than that because he may have the thesis for it, but he can't build this part unless he has enough materials and elements to build it. And in Mass Effect 1, if you so happen to collect all the materials for those side collection quests, you can do that and build that. But then he
Oh.
needs like some scientist to run it, and I think it's some side quest from Mass Effect 2 you had to do. So all these
Oh.
tiny
Huh.
little choices build up to
Damn.
making this like huge war asset. Like it's
How
like
did
plus
I never
1,000.
hear about this?
This is awesome.
I know. No wonder.
I
I,
didn't
know about
treated
that.
him like, I was like, get away from me.
Me too. Me
Leave me
too.
alone!
You.
They're like,
I was
pushing
nice
away
at
with the cane.
first, but after a while. Come on, boy.
Shepard.
Every time I had the opportunity to point my gun at him, I did. So I think that's why he didn't show up in Mass Effect 3 for me.
Conrad Werner moves away today. Oh, my cat's yelling at the wall. The wall has been there, cat. So, don't worry, it's
Raizer's
not
cat. Our next guest.
I love your
That was-
cat.
This is Pompeii that time. He just yells at objects. Princess is the one that implodes.
Cat named
Whatever
Princess?
she does. Yeah, well, yeah,
Princess.
she changed her own name. It used to be something else, but when I lived with family, my little sister would be called Princess, and when they would call Princess, the cat would come running. So that's her name now.
Aww.
She's like, yes, I am.
I am the princess.
That's me.
Finally,
You're calling
someone
me?
figures it out.
That is some proper recognition.
I want to bring Princess into the Andromeda Galaxy.
I would too.
I would be down for that, yeah.
He's got like a biotic shockwave.
Wait, a biotic.
Princess, do your special ability! Everything blows up around.
You could just see the sound waves coming out of her mouth.
It's like a biotic shout.
Everything just like gets stunned.
Everything disintegrates and turns into money somehow. It's like, how did that happen? Enemies turn into credits. Oh, wow.
Well, for me, I would obviously bring my absolute favorite character in all of the series, the Star Child.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding. Never.
Goes in the box and, just leave it.
Okay, in the box.
Bring
In the
box.
Close it and go. Okay, move on.
But really, but I don't know, like, I loved so many characters, I would wet myself if I saw any of them. But yeah, I think I'd also have to go with Garrus, my lover boy.
But then you would be taking him away from your shepherd.
Well, whatever.
It'll be all good. It's all good.
She'll get over it. But yeah, I think he also, I think, was one of the characters who went through a lot of growth in a little more, like, subtle way. Like you said, I think he could have his own team now, you know, like Shepard kind of inspired him. And that's the other thing, too, about Shepard and Garrus, is that I think Shepard always kind of just overshadows him. You know, I think he could rise above without Shepard, sadly. Sad to say, but, you know, I think that'd be awesome for him as a character. But
Especially
I'm
if
really...
you lose your shepherd.
Yeah. Which...
Yeah, I think it'd be really powerful to see, you know, he with, especially with what he says, there's no, you know, like, Shepard without, or Garrus without Shepard, you know.
No.
I think it'd be, seeing him without Shepard, I'd be like, oh, look, he's all on his own now.
Little baby Garrus all grown up.
Yeah, and then you'd feel like you put him there, you know, like, I'm so proud of you. You know?
Yes,
Fireworks,
exactly.
You bring up a good point, though, with him being over Shepard, or over Shepard. Oh, wow, my mic to the pop. Over Shepard by Shepard. Overshadowed by Shepard.
He was over my shepherd.
He was over mine, too.
But yeah, you bring up a good point of him being overshadowed by Shepard, and I think BioWare hints at that during that one scene in Mass Effect 3 where they're up on that secret place and you have the option of letting Garrus shoot better than you.
Mm-hmm.
And letting him
yeah.
win. And I think BioWare, that's their nod of saying, hey look, you know, you always overshadow Garrus. If you recognize that fact, you can make him feel really happy for just a second.
Aww. I love him.
My shepherd won, though. No, my male shepherd did. He was like all laughing at him. I felt kind of bad though.
Oh god.
You punk. But then my female shepherd let him win.
That was nice. Female shepherd. Female shepherd plus 5 paragon. Male shepherd minus like 10. Plus 5 renegade. I wonder if they're gonna bring that back. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting if they have like paragon renegade thing. I think so many people really enjoyed those moments that they considering it's from a team made up of a lot of the same people, I would say that they probably would kind of stick something similar to that back in.
I think they wouldn't leave it out. It's just so integrated in Mass Effect that it would be. I think people would really respond negatively if they ripped it out or they changed it too much.
Yeah.
Not having Paragon and Renegade.
It is a pretty defining aspect, I think, of the game. So I hope that it stays.
I really liked how in Mass Effect 2 is almost kind of like you had to go one way or the other in order to get all of like the dialogue options, I think, versus
Mass Effect 1 too.
Yeah, you had more work. So I had typically went like full Paragon in order to get certain dialogue options. But I really
hated that.
But in Mass Effect 3, I think because it was kind of like the final one, you got to do whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
You got to make any decision. You want to punch that guy, you go right on ahead. Like, you got to, like, really, like... do any of the choices you wanted. So I really liked the freedom that came with it. Like I didn't like having to work to express the moral character of Shepard. I liked having it like as like I got options. So I hope that it's kind of like resembles Mass Effect 3's system more. So I guess.
Yeah,
and I think Paragade alignment or whatever is just as valid as either of the polar.
Yeah. Thank you.
Like
you know what? BioWare listened to her because I was a Paragade and I got screwed over so many times. It's like I could. And the worst is that they show you the option and it's all black.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like telling you it's like
You done
look what
fucked
you
up.
did, you sucker.
You messed up.
You could have had
Guys were
this
evil
option.
enough for this.
Like
No,
I didn't.
I've
I in Mass Effect 2, I wasn't able to because I didn't have enough either Renegade or Paragon for Zaid, and he was so pissed off at me. I don't remember what the choice was, but where you let the guy go or something like that. And I wanted to help him, but it's like I didn't get the option. And Zaid was so mad at me, and I was like, Zaid, I loved you though.
Yeah, that's when the refinery is burning down and stuff.
Yeah.
And you have the choice to save the people or let the guy escape or something. Yeah, that was actually a pretty big moment for Zaid. He'd hate you for that.
I've had trouble sometimes with the Jack and Miranda conflict. So now I leave that till like the very end to make sure I have enough points in one or the other because I love them both. I hate Jack, but I love her.
Or like the Tally and Legion one as well.
Yep.
Oh, that one is bad though.
Oh,
That
one you just feel like you just want to freaking jump out the window yourself.
One that could have been even worse than that I think they cut it, was there was going to be a Morden and Grunt one about the Genophage.
Oh God.
Oh man, imagine
That would
how
be
like
hard.
intense that one would be. You'd be like,
They probably would have fought each other like physically. You'd have to break them up.
Oh my god.
The Genophage is one of the hardest like decisions for me. Always.
right, Kate? Yeah, because you're the one that doesn't. Cure
Yeah, you're the one that doesn't cure it.
No, I did. I usually do.
Yeah, you tell yourself that.
Krogan.
I can see both sides, so
Morden
it's hard
the baby
for me.
Krogan needs to be real.
Well, I know what's like morally right for me as a person, but it's one of those things that like I could see both sides, so it's always kind of like, what would happen if I went the other way?
If you have Thane alive, then you end up getting the Solarians anyway, so it's kind of like...
Yeah.
You have to cure the gender. That is not an option. You have to cure it.
You must cure it. I noticed one interesting thing about the reputation system is on like the BioWare forums, the people that would be against the Paragade system. Paragrade, whatever. Paragon Renegade.
Paragade or Renegon.
When they be against it. Yeah, Renegon. They claim it'd be too constricting, like it would keep you within a box if you wanted to go one way or another, which it is kind of true. But you gotta remember, even in Dragon Age and other games that don't just out and have the system in the open, it's running in the background. The game is keeping track of what positive choices you're making and negative ones and balancing it. And I'd rather it be displayed to me numerically or statistically on screen than me just having to guess, like, I think I've been good so far, you know? So I'm all favor of it being shown to me than being hidden and just running as code in the background. And
I have
sure
a love-hate
BioWare
system
games,
with that.
Yeah.
I have like this love-hate thing when I see it. Like I don't really want to see it. I like how Mass Effect does it, where it's, you know, your squad won't leave you, like in Dragon Age.
Yeah.
So in Dragon Age, it's always this worry where I'm like, oh my god. Well, Dragon Age 2 was different. I really like how Dragon Age 2 did it with the friend and rival.
Oh, me too.
Mm-hmm.
I love
that was
that.
really, really good. So if they did something like that, friend and rival in Mass Effect, I think it'd be cool to see the difference in how they see you. You know, how it's like, I don't like you, but I'm gonna keep, you know, I'm gonna follow you just because you're doing something important. I think that'd be cool too.
I liked how, though, for certain characters that are harder to make leave, like there was that sort of like how they thought of you was reflected in just simple dialogue. Like certain characters would greet you warmly or neutrally, or be like, "Hi."
Oh,
what do you want?
What do you want? Or like
Shepherd, right?
Shepherd.
or if Solus really hates you, you can punch him.
How could you do that?
Solus, though? He seems...
I know. You're such a bad person.
It's not me, it's my Inquisitor, okay? If this is your first time listening to us, and would prefer to listen to our podcast chronologically, you can click the link on the screen to view the first episode. All of our podcast hosts have their own YouTube channels and social media platforms, so be sure to subscribe and like us respectively.
You can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and you can also email us at n7radioofficial@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you and hear your comments and questions that we'll feature in an upcoming podcast.
And once again, I'd like to thank our special guest, GamerMD83.
Thank you. It's been so much fun. Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
It's been great
it's
having
awesome.
you. We loved having you on.
Thank you. Yeah.
Come again.
I definitely will. Yeah. I love talking Mass Effect with you guys. You guys are awesome.
Oh, yay. Hopefully Chachi won't be judging a parade next time.
I know. We have. Yeah. We have to. I have to meet her.
So where can our followers follow you? Where can they watch your content?
Where do you live on the internet?
Where do I live on the internet? I live on YouTube at GamerMD83 on YouTube, and Twitter at GamerMD83. On YouTube right now, I'm kind of excited because I feel like my channel is going through somewhat of a transition. Right now, I'm trying to get the Dragon Age, my Dragon Age Let's Play Trespasser finished, so that I could end that segment, and also with The Witcher, I have to finish that as well. But yeah, I'm kind of transitioning when it comes to my channel. It's a lot of really cool things coming, scheduled already. So secrets, good ones. But yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm gonna be doing a lot of what I've always done, but just I feel more experienced now, so I'm gonna be adding a lot more oomph to that stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oomph. Yeah. Gamer MD83.
Sunday. Gamer MD83. New videos, random explosion.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you to do my intros.
Definitely.
That'd be a fun one.
That would be fun, wouldn't it?
But yeah, definitely Mass Effect Nation, you need to follow and subscribe to GamerMD83. She's been one of my favorite YouTubers for years, and she's only gets better with every video. So if you haven't already, give her some love and help share her stuff. And speaking of love, oh, no problem, it's been awesome. And speaking of love, make sure you share this podcast as well. That way we can help build Mass Effect Nation, a strong community of fans that help share real Mass Effect news, theories, and information with one another. It's a place where you can talk about anything you want to talk about, like Chachi's Joker theories, and not be judged for them.
If you lose your marbles, you're welcome here.
Yes. You're not alone. Now make sure you tune in next episode, where we'll be talking all about player choices, which is something BioWare does great, and something that a lot of people have been talking about. How will player choices be implemented in Mass Effect Andromeda? Make sure you tune in the next episode, where we're going to talk all about that. And, as always, thanks for watching. Keep us alive, Mass Effect Nation.
Woo!